Limited job opportunities and social resources make the competition for young people in modern China increasingly fierce. But there's a group of young people who think differently. They do not compete, will not get married, will not have a child, and will not buy a house. This is now popular among young people in China, the lying flat doctrine. Lying flat means resisting the various socio-cultural demands with a passive attitude, actively lowering their desire to maintain the minimum standard of living, not buying a house, not talking about love, not getting married, not having children, not pursuing a promotion. This is also an attitude of life, is it not? However, the term was immediately blocked by Chinese officials and disappeared from all social media platforms. The reason is that it reveals the serious demographic crisis Beijing is trying to solve. The term originated from an article titled Lying Flat is Controversial, in which the author Luo Huazhong shared his lying flat life on the internet and resonated with tens of millions of Chinese youths. According to the article, the author Luo has not been in a steady job for more than 2 years. Luo said, I have spent most of the time enjoying myself and I find nothing wrong with it. Expectations and stress typically came from the traditional ideas of elder family members. The constant feeding of celebrity news about the latest romances and pregnancies to the masses was akin to imposing a way of thinking on them. Since this land never really existed to exalt the tide of human subjectivity, that I can create my own to myself. Lying flat is my wise man's movement. Only lying flat can we the human measure anything, he said, suggesting young people do not need to live up to anyone's expectation. With the rising popularity of the article, lying flat has gradually become popular among young people and become a buzzword on the Chinese internet. Although the article has been banned and removed from major forums by Chinese authorities, it is still spreading among the young people, who not only discuss how to lie flat but also share their experiences on maintaining a lying flat life. They regard the author of the article Luo as the lying flat master and even set up a lying flat holy ground in Dali, a typical tourist destination in China. The main reason why lying flat is so popular among young Chinese is that they do not see a future or a way out in their society. Unemployment among Chinese university students has reached record highs in recent years, and it has become common for them to work overtime to earn enough money to start a family. And for women, they have to face workplace inequality and the responsibilities of having a child on top of that. Some analysts believe that lying flat has become a way for young Chinese to fight against social inequality, the first nonviolent non-cooperation campaign in 100 years in China. As expected, lying flat has attracted strong criticism from the Chinese official media.
但吐槽归吐槽，苦恼归苦恼，认命可以，躺平却不行。
Many official media outlets such as the Chinese Communist Youth League Central, the Southern Daily, and the Guangming Daily publish articles criticizing lying flat, denouncing the lifestyle as irresponsible. On May 31st, the Chinese authorities announced that they will implement a three-child policy, which allows a couple to have 3 children. An official said the aim is to improve China's demographic structure, implement a national strategy to actively cope with the aging population, and maintain the country's advantageous human resource endowment. Prior to this, China had implemented a population control policy since the 1950s, and until 2016, most families were only allowed to have 1 child. Faced with a high-speed population aging crisis in 2016, Beijing urgently opened up its 2-child policy, but still failed to realize the baby boom. 2019 is the 4th year of the full 2-child birth policy, but the number of births fell to a new low for the year. As a result, the CCP launched the 3-child policy. After the official announcement of the 3-child birth policy, Xinhua News Agency also launched a survey on its official Weibo titled "The 3-child birth policy is here, are you ready?" The results of the survey showed that 32,000 people participated in the poll in less than an hour, with more than 29,000 of them saying, I don't think about it at all. Many netizens commented under the survey post that China lacks a sound welfare system and labor protection, and that young people not only earn meager wages, but also they have to support 4 parents and 3 children, work overtime from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, and 6 days a week. Why would they want 3 children, said one comment. But these comments were soon deleted. According to Yi Fuxian, a Chinese population expert and author of Big Country with an Empty Next, decades of one-child policies have completely changed Chinese people's concept of fertility. The complementary measures proposed by Chinese authority to boost childbirth, such as developing a system of inclusive childcare services, reducing family education expenses, and improving the maternity leave and the maternity insurance systems to protect women's employment rights, are still very limited in their effectiveness, as is already being done in the neighboring country of Japan. Compared to Japan, China is characterized by the fact that it ages before it gets rich. The aging of China's economy has led to a slowdown, and the economic slowdown has led to a debt crisis for many local governments, which simply do not have the money to encourage childbirth, he said. Meanwhile, the officials are blocking the lying flat doctrine while encouraging young people to have children in various ways. A few days before the introduction of the three-child policy, the song I Give Birth to Two Children for My Country was promoted on the internet on May 26th. The songwriter says the song was inspired by the People's Daily's commentary. Having a baby is a family matter as well as a national matter, and argues that young people should give birth for the country in order to realize the Chinese dream, even if this means that they have to sacrifice their happiness. Many netizens are angry at this official propaganda, arguing that childbirth is a basic human right, but that the Chinese Communist regime has been interfering with people's right and will to have children since 1949. One user asked, "Should we have another 100 Days Make Children Born campaign?" The comment is referring back to 1991, when in order to reduce the birth rate in Guangxian County, Shandong Province from May 1st to August 10th, all firstborn and secondborn children were forcibly aborted, known as the 100 Days No Children is Born campaign. The slogan at the time was, "It's good to control birth. The government will support your retirement life." Sophie Richardson, director of Human Rights Watch's China program, is concerned that the implementation of the three-child policy would be a stopgap measure adopted by the Chinese government in response to the demographic crisis and does not mean that the Chinese authorities are making progress in improving human rights, particularly women's reproductive rights. Richardson believes that the authorities are unwilling to completely abandon control over Chinese reproductive rights. One of our worries right now is whether the authorities will go so far as to start requiring people to have children, she said. Qin Peng, a Chinese economic observer, said the rise of lying flat in China is mainly due to the huge social pressure faced by the post-80s and post-90s generation. He said, "In the broader social context, we see that the equal amount of pain cannot get you an equal amount of gain in China. It is now a matter of whether the whole social system can guarantee fairness and justice to everyone." Chen Guangcheng, a well-known human rights lawyer, said that lying flat is due to the fact that the Communist Party, which dictated China for several decades, has made the society losing a fair chance to compete. The welfare and benefits for people within the Communist Party system are superior, but ordinary people who have worked hard all their lives may spend all their savings due to one illness, and so many people have a very miserable life in their old age. Chen said, "Instead of saying people lie flat because they're lazy, it is more like they have lost their hope in the future, especially the young generations." Some Chinese netizens who remain anonymous for fear of persecution by the Chinese Communist Party have given a more insightful explanation for lying flat. Leeks that lie flat are not easy to be cut. The implication here is that leeks are a very cheap vegetable in China, and the scythes used to harvest them symbolize the Communist Party. Leek harvesting is often used by the Chinese people to describe how they have worked hard all their lives, but the profits was harvested by others, gaining nothing and even losing their lives. In fact, under the high-handed rule of the Communist Party, the Chinese have failed in many ways to fight for human rights and social equality in past years. To lie flat is to resist by silence, by giving up, and it is something that Beijing did not anticipate. When young people have to give up their lives to fight against tyranny, how far is the rest of the way for the country?